After a win against the Yankees today, the Mariners are more or less in the same spot they were in heading into the series, but now they have, of course, 3 fewer games to pick up ground in the wild card race. Our thoughts on that and more coming up here on the Locked On Mariners postgame show. Colby, hit it.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ahoy, sailors. It is Thursday, September 19th, 2024. This is Tiny Gonzalez and Colby Patnode for the Locked On Mariners postgame show, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Mariners squeak out a win against the Yankees today by a score of 3-2. They avoid getting swept and pick up a game on the Twins and half a game on the Tigers in the wildcard race. The Astros play the Angels here in about 20 or so minutes from the time of this recording, so we'll see if the Mariners are able to pick up ground as far as the AL West is concerned. But of course, now there are only 9 games left in the regular season for the Mariners to up the ground that they need to pick up here over the next week plus. As always, we'll give you our takeaways from the game, and we'll also talk about the wildcard race, AL West race, all that good stuff here. But before we do that, shout out to our title sponsor today, FanDuel. Now through September 22nd, so not much time left, all FanDuel customers can bet $5, get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. And if you want to hear from me and Colby even more and help support the show, check out our Patreon. The link is in the description, and you can sign up for a free 7-day trial. So, with some help from Jason Dominguez, the Mariners scored 3 runs in the bottom of the first inning. That's all they got today, and that's all they needed today because the pitching for the Mariners, pretty dang good. I mean, to start, they kept Juan Soto off of the board, held him to just a walk. He went 0 for 3 today. Aaron Judge went just 1 for 3 today. And it all starts with Logan Gilbert, who went 5 1/3 innings strong in this one, 9 strikeouts, 2 walks, 6 hits. 2 earned runs coming on a mistake to Jazz Chisholm, but that's really all there was as far as damage done against Logan Gilbert. Just 6 hard hit balls on the day in total against Gilbert. The bullpen was also really darn good today. We'll get into those guys here in a second. But Colby, just to start here, what did you think about Gilbert's day?
It was a different day for Logan Gilbert. We know that Logan has evolved as a pitcher, and it used to be just living on the fastball, and then if you can get a secondary pitch or two, he had a shot to dominate. And this year in particular, we've seen stretches where his best pitch is actually a secondary pitch. Today was even a little bit more of a change off of the norm because the 4-seam fastball was essentially just along for the ride today. It was his second most used pitch by a pretty big gap. The slider was actually his go-to number 1 offering today. He threw the slider 33 times. He threw the 4-seamer just 22 times. And on top of that, he threw the splitter 21 times and the curveball 18 times. So it was a true mix. It was slider heavy, but it's not like the fastball featured super prominently over the other off-speed stuff. It really didn't. It was just kind of there. It was just part of the arsenal today. It wasn't the leading pitch. In fact, he threw 22 sliders. He got 22 fastballs, 13 swings, no whiffs on that pitch, only 3 called strikes. The Yankees were being very aggressive, trying to get to that fastball. And, either Logan knew that going in or he learned it and made an adjustment. But any way you want to slice it, he went to his off-speed stuff today, and it worked very, very well. You look at just the whiff numbers alone on these pitches. He threw 33 sliders, got 14 swings, 7 whiffs. So 50% whiff rate on the slider. He also got 10 called strikes on that slider. So 52% called strike plus whiff is astronomical for a starter like Gilbert. And then you look at the splitter, he threw 21 of them. They swung 12 times. They missed 9 times. 75% whiff rate on the split fastball. Like that's insane. That is an insane number for anybody. And then, oh, by the way, he threw 18 curveballs. They swung at that pitch 7 times. They swung and missed 4 times, 57% whiff rate on the day. Also 4 called strikes on that. So when you look at the 3 off-speed pitches that he featured today, 52% called strike plus whiff on the slider, 43% on the splitter, 44% on the curveball. So essentially half the time he threw an off-speed pitch today, there was no damage done against it. The ball wasn't moved forward at all.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, when you look at the numbers here, on those 3 pitches, only 5 Yankees put the ball in play between the lines. 5 balls in play on those 3 pitches combined. So they were really out there hunting the fastball. That's what they wanted to do. That was their game plan. And Gilbert just wouldn't give in. He wouldn't give them the fastball. And it was, again, we've seen Gilbert do this kitchen sink method before. We've seen him be a much more balanced pitcher. Today was even like another step further in that evolution. And he showed that he has 3 pitches, 3 off-speed pitches that can be legitimate swing and miss pitches. Again, this is against the Yankees. They're the best hitting team in baseball. It's not like he wasn't facing Judge and Soto and they were out today. Like, they were in this lineup. And he just made the one mistake to Jazz. And then the only other thing that you can really nitpick here is that he only went 5 1/3, right? He was really grinding through these at-bats. And so Gilbert, you want him to go deeper. You want him to be 6, 7 innings every time out. That's what you should expect from him. Today, only 5 1/3, but overall, you look at the numbers, you look at the box score, 9 strikeouts in 5 1/3 innings, just the 6 hits, 6 hard hit balls, 2 walks. That's a bit unusual for Gilbert to walk a couple guys in such a small or short outing for him. But overall, a very good night for Logan Gilbert, and just kind of another new wrinkle of what we've seen. And this is a good reminder tonight, or games like today, is that we probably still haven't seen Logan Gilbert's ceiling quite yet. There's still more to go get in that tank. And it was a good outing. It was a gritty outing. And it was exactly what the Mariners needed. Just would have been great if they could have gotten another, 2 or 3 outs from him, because obviously Colin Snyder was not available today. Turns out they didn't need him because some dude stepped up. But it was very good and very fun and unique Logan Gilbert start.
Yeah, so Gilbert came out for the 6th. He struck out Anthony Rizzo, then handed the ball off to JT Chagua. Chagua, Taylor, Thornton, and Munoz. So those guys go 3 2/3 innings in this one. They hold the Yankees both scoreless and hitless over that time. Huge. And I want to talk about Troy Taylor here, because Dan Wilson gives him the ball to face the heart of the Yankees order, to face Gleyber Torres, to face Juan Soto, to face Aaron Judge, Jazz Chisholm. And he walks Soto, but strikes out Chisholm to end the inning. And he's proven that he is a guy that you can trust in these situations. He has proven that he is a dude right now in the Mariners bullpen. And that's a huge development, right? Because we're at the point now in the season where, look, playoffs are still mathematically possible, very unlikely. So right now where I'm at, I'm keeping an eye on the standings and all that, but also I'm looking for little things to carry into the offseason. Troy Taylor is absolutely one of those things that I'm going to be carrying into the offseason. Like, he, especially with how much this bullpen has struggled over the course of this year. And, they've had injuries, and, with Matt Brash and Gregory Santos, of course, and Ryan Stanek hasn't worked out, and Gabe Spire didn't work out, and all that stuff. It seemed like they were going to have to go into this offseason, and it still does seem like that, and have to kind of retool this bullpen. But having someone like Troy Taylor in place, having someone like Colin Snyder in place, really helps with that for sure. And Taylor's been a great development. So what did you see out of him today? And is there anyone else in the bullpen that you want to highlight?
Yeah, Taylor, probably the sketchiest outing of everybody out of the pen today. Now, he also had the more difficult job facing the 3 guys that he had to face. But he was actually probably the sketchiest guy. And that just more points to how good the rest of the bullpen was today. Not that Taylor was anything of an issue. But it's the sweeper. It's the 4-seamer. It's pretty good slider or sweeper or whatever pitch you want to call it, whatever made up name you want to give it. It was a breaking ball, right? And it's a fastball, and it's very much what you would expect from a reliever. It's a mix between those 2 pitches. Some days he's fastball heavy, some days he's sweeper heavy. The sweeper's got pretty good bite to it. And the fastball, 98 miles an hour. Like, this doesn't read like anything more than a normal reliever profile, but he throws a lot of strikes. He's usually on the edges of the plate. And he's just been very, very like calm in these big situations. And it seems like every time he takes the mound, the pressure level is cranked up more and more and more. because he started, hey, we're up by 4 in the ninth. And it's like, okay, that's not really high leverage. And it's like, oh, we're up by 3 in the eighth. That's not high leverage. And then all of a sudden it's, hey, we need you to go face the middle of the Yankees order in back-to-back days. And it's a 1-run game or it's a tie game, like figure it out. And he's done it. So he just has this real, like, I don't know, just this kind of like look that he's just been here for 10 years and he knows what it's like to pitch in these big pressure situations and big league
I think
stadiums.
the kids call that aura, Colby.
Sure. Call it what you want. We call it something different in my day, but I'm not allowed to say it on the show. So he's just gutsy, and he goes out there and he attacks hitters. He's not intimidated. And that's good to see. And I think ideally you head into next year, Taylor isn't even one of your like first 4 or 5 guys you use in a high leverage spot, and he has to earn his way into the big league bullpen to start the year. But if you do have to call on him based on how he's pitched since coming up this year, I think you feel pretty good about where the Mariners are at with Troy Taylor and their pen next year. But also shout out to Trent Thornton, who's been very suspect, especially in the second half, and he just cruises in his inning. We see some fired up Trent Thornton. That's always fun to see. And then Munoz just comes in and just absolutely shoves. It was the what on this show I have to call the screw you fastball today, because he fell behind 3-0 to Wells and he just said, screw this. Here it is, hit it. And 10 fastballs, 5 swings, 4 whiffs, 2 called strikes. And the slider, not like it was a slouch today either. It was through a couple really good sliders, and 1, 2, 3 just left Soto on deck.
He ended the game on a slider.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a nice day for the bullpen in general, but definitely Munoz and Taylor were the guys that stood out the most to me in this one. Taylor for the challenge that was presented to him, holding a 1-run lead against Soto and Judge and Chisholm and Torres, obviously, and then Munoz for just smoking everyone in his path. That was a lot of fun to watch. Really, really fun inning to watch. All right, so we might talk a little bit about the offense. Really not much to take away from the offense today, though. They had the big first inning, and that was it for the day.
They shut it down like they have so often this year.
But we also have some injury updates to go over and all that. So we'll do that in just a moment. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners postgame show is brought to you by Arena Club. For most of us that like collecting cards, the idea of spending $2,000 or more on Luka Doncic, Ellie De La Cruz, or Patrick Mahomes rookies just isn't in the cards. Now, I love collecting, but that's some serious money to drop. Thanks to slab packs from arenaclub.com, though, it is now possible to score gem mints for a fraction of their retail price. Every card that I listed was hit from last week's Arena Club slab pack drop. Arena Club is the only repack that provides real value, a complete view of all possible cards, and clear hit rates for each one. Arena Club slab packs are revolutionizing the repack game with transparency. After your pulls are revealed, they'll immediately be placed in your showroom for safekeeping, selling, trading, or auction. The Arena Club grading process is accurate, fast, and transparent, with a full grade rationale provided and explanation of how your card was scored. Whether you're buying, selling, trading, or displaying, Arena Club is the card collecting platform you have to check out. Right now, you can get 10% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/lockedonmlb and use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's arenaclub.com/lockedonmlb, promo code LOCKEDONMLB for 10% off your purchase. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners postgame show. You can catch all the action between the Mariners and the Rangers tomorrow night on the Mariners hometown broadcast with SiriusXM via the SXM app. All you have to do to find that is search the word Mariners. So again, Mariners scored 3 runs to start the game. That was it for the rest of the day. Colby, you have any thoughts on the offense?
Just that on Monday, we talked about how good the offense had looked the last few weeks, and they laid an absolute egg.
The Locked On Mariners curse, man.
Yeah, whatever. Ain't no such thing as curses. But the offense was just bad. Again, all 3 games, it was terrible. And, thankfully they found a way to score 3 in the first. Probably should have just been 1 if Dominguez could catch a routine fly ball, but he didn't, and the Mariners tacked on a couple more runs after that. So at the very least, they find a way to take advantage of that mistake. no extra base hits in this one. They strike out 10 times. They do draw 6 walks. So, I mean, they had traffic again. They had a lot of traffic in this game, and they just couldn't find the hit when they needed it to kind of add insurance runs or to break the game open. That was a pretty common theme here this weekend or this week. So whatever. The offense just mediocre as all get out. And, Justin Turner looks pretty good still. Like, he's still swinging a good bat. Randy Rosarena continues to ride the hot and cold roller coaster.
He also keeps getting hit by pitches.
Yeah, you never know what he's going to do. Luke Raley, couple hits in this one, also had a huge defensive play in the second. So, Raley, kind of the position player star of this game, also had a bunt single and a sacrifice bunt, both of which were stupid, but whatever. I hope Dan Wilson
productive outs.
I hope Dan Wilson gets a lot better at this, because the Mariners literally handed the Yankees 3 of the last 6 outs they needed in this game. Just hand it. Here you go. You can have this one for free. So yeah, productive outs. Oxymoron.
Josh Rojas had one. Luke Raley had one.
I think that was an attempt.
Who else?
I think that was an attempt at a hit. Rojas had one. I think Raley was trying to bunt for a hit, and that's still stupid because you can't bunt a guy from second to home. Like that doesn't work, right? You have to get a hit into the outfield to score that guy. So I hate bunting for a hit with runners in scoring position. It is my least favorite thing Ichiro ever did. Well, I do in general. I don't hate bunting for a hit when there's nobody on base and you're trying to get something going. What I hate is bunting when there's a guy on second base with nobody out. Just get a hit. Like, that's the one hit that you can't score on. You just eliminate all possibility that you're going to get extra bases. You eliminate all possibility you're going to hit a home run. You eliminate all possibility. All you've done is increase the probability that you're going to make an out, which decreases the probability that you're going to score a run. This is very basic math.
All right.
And you know what? I hope Dave gets that job in New York, because I can't stand to listen to him just wax poetically about, all the productive outs that they had this weekend that led to 0 runs. That led to nothing. Productive outs is an oxymoron, and you're a moron if you believe them. Jesus Christ. Moving a guy from second to third and committing an out to do it is not productive. And the Mariners proved it over and over and over again in this series, and we're still talking about it like they're real. What are you doing?
Leave it to Colby Patno to come through with a
a sacrifice fly is like a vaguely productive out. That's the closest thing you can do to a productive out. And even then, that's not as good as a hit. Stop acting like that's as good as a hit. It's not. You're down by 4. Sacrifice fly doesn't do anything. You need hits. Stop bunting, Dan. Get it worked out. I hope you get a lot better at this, because I am not impressed. Scoring 1 run when you have runners on first and second and nobody out is not a positive result. It's the bare minimum acceptable result. Jesus Christ. Stop laying down bunts. They're stupid. They're beyond stupid. These are professional baseball players. What are the odds that they spike one or they throw one into the right field bleachers and get multiple bases out of it?
I think we get it. We get
it's stupid. Stop doing it.
Bunting sucks.
You're Luke Raley. You're the best hitter on the team. Stop bunting.
All right.
What are we doing?
All right.
Victor Robles, you're the best hitter on the team. Stop bunting.
You've had your fun. We get it.
It's annoying.
We get it.
It's really annoying. Your 2 best hitters are up there bunting half the time they go up to the plate. What are you doing?
You know what else is annoying, Colby? Injuries. That's my segue here to get you off track. Dan Wilson was asked about Luis Castillo today, and he basically had a non-update. His update was just words. He said he's progressing as he should be. I think as far as we know right now, he's doing well. All right, sure.
He doesn't have a clue.
Then Victor Robles, who said that he was having a hard time gripping a bat yesterday. He was in the lineup before the game, but got scratched. So we'll see if maybe he's feeling better tomorrow. and he's feeling well enough to play in that game against the Rangers, or at least at some point over the course of the weekend. I mean, look, if they are going to make some sort of last minute run here, like they're going to need Victor Robles for it. So hopefully he's able to get back in the lineup here in the next couple days.
Who else could bunt the guy over to third base with nobody out after a leadoff double? Who? I ask who. Maybe Julio will be asked to do it next. Why not?
Don't even get me started on Julio after last night. I really just don't want to jump into that.
The timing for that was perfect, where we just like, we don't have to talk about that because we're not recording until after the game tomorrow. So
at
least it happened last night and not Monday or not. What was that? Be Wednesday night?
I'll say this. A lot of people trying to compare the two base running gaffes, big oopsies, if you will, between Victor Robles and Julio Rodriguez over the last couple of games. Julio's was way worse because at the very least, Robles probably didn't lose you the game because the pitching was so bad that night.
Right.
Julio killed all of your chances of winning that game. Yeah.
Because at that point, you don't even need a hit. And you could still win that game.
Yeah.
You win that game without a hit. Yeah. All I'll say about Julio is this. Yes, I'm mad. Yes, it's inexcusable. That is the dumbest single thing I have ever seen a human being do on the baseball field. Ever. Yeah. I didn't think there was a shot that we would ever see anything dumber this year than what Victor Robles did the night before. And it took like 24 hours later for like, what?
Yeah.
So all I'm going to say about that is that at least he's talked to the media afterwards because he's been known to kind of, shirk that responsibility.
Yeah. Props to Julio for owning up to it and owning up to it to Dan as well and all that stuff. I
hope that was a decision he made himself. But if somebody in that clubhouse had to be like, hey, dude, no, you have, then kudos to that guy for getting through to Julio and being like, no, you have to stand like up in front of people for this one and apologize. And you can't hide from this. And so I hope Julio is maturing enough that he realized he needs to do that on his own. But if not, Turner or whatever, whoever it was says like, dude, no, dude, trust me, you have to, then kudos to that guy because that was absolutely, Julio had to do what he did last night. And then he goes into Dan's office today and apologizes like, okay, cool. Probably do that in front of the entire team, but whatever.
Maybe he did. We don't know.
Maybe he did. I mean, it's a step in the right direction at the very least. Does it make everything that he did yesterday go away? No.
No. But it was bad. It was
unforgivable.
Bad. That play. I don't know about unforgivable, but like that play.
He could win World Series MVP, and I will still point to that play.
Right.
Can't undo that though, can you, Julio?
Yeah. You
6 rings later. But yet here it is in hard copy.
Julio's getting inducted into the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, and you're like, yeah, but Julio, remember
Maniaca, like
yeah. That picture, that picture single-handedly encapsulates the entire season that we've experienced here in 2024.
Maniaca is all of us.
For real. All right. So I guess we'll talk about the wild card race and the playoff race.
Hooray.
They're mathematically in it still, Colby. I mean, they're 2 games back, but it's actually 3. But they're 2 games back, Colby. So
win 6 in a row, and then I'll go into that last series having a shred of hope.
Sure. All right, so we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But first, a reminder: this episode of the Locked On Mariners Postgame Show is brought to you by FanDuel. You've heard me talk a lot about FanDuel, which, of course, is America's #1 sportsbook. Well, I have something a little different for you today. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon, that's LOCKDON, to download America's #1 sportsbook. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners postgame show. Once again, you can catch all the action between the Mariners and the Rangers tomorrow night on the Mariners hometown broadcast with SiriusXM via the SXM app. All you have to do to find that is search the word Mariners. Last road trip of the season for the Yems. And there's an outside shot that it could be very, very important, especially the road trip capping series against the Astros. Who hopefully will lose tonight to the Angels, who have basically served as the bane of the Mariners' existence in the year 2024. So hopefully they can, maybe give the Mariners some help for once this year. That'd be great. Doubt
they were
it.
brought on this earth to do one thing and one thing only: screw the 2024 Seattle Mariners.
Yeah, highly doubt it, but we'll see. We'll see if they're able to help out here. All right, so the Mariners are 2 games back of both the Tigers and the Twins after today's events. Tigers didn't play, so the Mariners pick up a half game on them. The Twins got walked off by the Guardians, who clinched today with that win. So the Twins continue to fall, and obviously the Mariners won today. So they pick up a game on Minnesota. So they're 2 games back. Technically 3 of both. There's no loophole here if they get into a 3-way tie, because it goes to combined record against the other 2 teams that you're in a tie with. And the Mariners obviously went 1-5 against the Tigers, and they went 2-4 against the Twins, or whatever it was. Yeah, 2-5, I think maybe. So they have to be 3 games better than both of those teams over the next 9 games, which look, when you look at the AL West, I mean, you play the Astros for 3, then the Astros have to play the Guardians to wrap up the season. Okay. That's a pretty tough road to finish the season for the Astros, right? Twins, they're playing the Red Sox, then they play the Marlins, which gross. But then they wrap up the season against the Orioles. All right. That's a pretty tough series. But then you get to the Tigers. Tigers are about to play the Orioles starting tomorrow over the course of the weekend. Then they play the Rays. But then they finish the season against the White Sox. So, yeah. So to me, even though you have more ground to gain as far as the AL West is concerned, I know I'm a broken record. I've said this time and time again. I still think the likeliest way that you make the playoffs, if you're going to do it, is by winning the AL West, because you still have those 3 games against the Astros. So ideally here, if that series is going to matter, you sweep the Rangers, you get some sort of help from the Angels here over the next few days, hopefully tonight. So you're back to 4 back heading into the series tomorrow night. If you can get within 3, and you're able to sweep, I mean, as long as taking over control of the West is in play heading into that series, then all right, I'm willing to buy into having at least an outside shot. So yeah, are you where I'm at basically with this thing? Like it's probably over, but if you can get some help over the next couple of days, then maybe. It's
so over. Basically, you have to win the last 9 games to have a shot. I mean, let's just call it what it is. At the wild card, you really need to win the last 9 to have a shot at the wild card. Against the Astros, there's basically no formula. Unless, of course, the Astros get swept by the Angels and you sweep the Rangers. There's basically no formula where that series is not must sweep. You have to win all 3 against the Astros. So, to be the most generous as I can, if the Mariners go 8-1 and 3 of those wins are against the Astros, I think they have a shot, which means they get 1 game as a margin of error, and that 1 game can't be against the Astros.
Mm-hmm.
And
it probably shouldn't be against the Rangers either.
No, the Rangers without Corey Seager, you should find a way to sweep them.
Yeah.
The Rangers who have nothing to play for, but it hasn't really mattered for the Mariners now, has it? So, the Rangers are the one AL West team the Mariners have played well this year. So I guess there's that. But again, it still requires the Angels to take probably 2 of these 4 games against the Astros for a sweep to even really matter. So we'll see. It's certainly not, it's certainly not a 0% chance, but it's really not much higher than zero. I can say that. And so, it's a bummer that you're in this situation, because it's really easy to go back and pick a game here or there, even in the last few weeks, where it's like, man, if we won that game, heck, go back to last
24
night.
hours.
Yeah. If you win last night's game, all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're one back of Minnesota, really two, but 2 games back with 9 to go is a heck of a lot more doable than 3 games back with 9 to go. And obviously Detroit is a team that's actually playing well right now, whereas Minnesota and Seattle, Seattle's playing okay ball overall over the last 2 weeks or so. They're playing okay ball. I think they won 10 out of 16, but that's just not going to get it done, right? We talked about this. You needed to go and probably win 20 of your last 25 to have a good shot. And they didn't do that. And we knew they weren't going to. This is just not a team that you can trust to do that. So could they win? Could they sweep this road trip and things get interesting going into that last series against Oakland? Sure. I mean, it's possible. We know that this team has talent.
I've seen weirder things.
Sure. It's definitely possible, but essentially what's happening is every night for the next 2 weeks is an elimination game for you. That's really what it is. And unfortunately, it'd be nice to have a little bit of a margin of error where it's like, oh, we don't have to sweep the Astros, but even if you're 4 games back and you sweep the Astros, like, only a game back with the tiebreaker, like, you might be able to do something. Maybe the Guardians take 2 of 3 from, the Astros, and you sweep the A's, and all of a sudden you win that division or you tie them. So,
I mean, that's if you want anyone to play the Astros in the final series of the year, it's probably the Guardians. Like, there probably aren't many other teams that you would pick over the Guardians to face the Astros in that situation.
Right.
So.
But any way you want to slice it, if you go into the series against Houston and you're 5 back or more, it's over. Because even if you sweep them, you still have to sweep Oakland and hope that the Astros don't win 2 out of 3. Like, it's over. Yeah. So getting through this weekend, you have to be within preferably 2, because if you're 2 games back and you just take the series from Houston, you're 1 game back now, but you have the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
And so now all of a sudden, again, you just have to do 1 game better than Houston does over the weekend. So more realistically, hopefully you can get down to Houston 4 games back and you find a way to sweep. That's really your only path to the playoffs. Unless, of course, again, Minnesota continues to fall on its face and maybe the Tigers finally slow down and hit the skids and look like the team they've been for most of the year. But it's just, the West is still your best shot to get in. And we're talking about, I would say, you run this simulation, the Mariners probably get in 5 times out of 1,000. Mm-hmm. Like, it's basically over. But we knew that a few days ago. Very little has changed in the last few days.
The Angels are up 1-0. Heading into the bottom of the first.
I mean, let's start printing the T-shirts, man. Obviously, this is going to happen.
Refuse to lose. This is so much like 1995. Don't you guys remember 1995? Yeah. It was so fun, right?
The reaction if this team wins the American League West with like 84 wins will be fascinating, because it'll be like they won the West, and it's like, did they? Like, yay,
but also yay,
boo. Like
yeah.
Like, it just, I mean, overall, like, let's go, but also like, let's go. Like, okay. It'll feel weird, but
yeah, I mean, obviously we'll take it. We're not saying we won't.
In the history of the Mariners, you will take every break you can get. So
but
it's over. Like, let's just call it what it's over. It's over.
Go Halos. You know what? Angels win the series, and the Mariners, there's going to be a lot of stipulations here. All right.
Oh boy.
Angels
We're already
win
over
the
time
series.
now. You better wrap this up quick here.
Angels win at least 3 against the. Actually, you know what? They win 2 against the Astros this weekend. Yeah, they split, and the Mariners sweep the Rangers. I will get on here on Monday. I will go to Lids. I will buy an Angels hat, and I will wear an Angels hat on this show on Monday.
I think if that happened, the Mariners would be what, 2 games or 3 games back? Yeah. And which is still a point where they need to sweep. So,
hey,
it's pretty much guaranteed to be
just
that
give
way
me
no
a
matter what.
path. Give me a path where you can take control of the AL West in that series. I'll take it.
I don't know. I'm getting these bad vibes. Like they're going to be 4 games back or something, and then they're going to sweep the Astros.
Right.
And then we'll get to
And then
game
it's gonna be
161 or whatever.
Yeah, it's going to be game 161,
I've
game
sat
162
in that
again.
stadium for game 160.
Yeah,
For every game,
you are not. Are you going to the ballpark? For
I
the last
always
series?
go the last weekend.
Oh God.
But I have sat in that. Think of every like scenario where they were eliminated on game 161 or 162.
Yeah.
I have been in the ballpark for that game every single time. So, I mean, well, last year, to be fair, I was there at 162 and they were eliminated technically just a few hours before that, the night before.
Yeah.
So technically I wasn't at that elimination game, but I was there the next day. So more or less.
Right.
But yeah. So, we'll see. Stranger things have happened, but they don't usually happen to
Here's to
Mariners.
hoping that I'm wearing an Angels hat on Monday.
You could always cheat and get an Angels jersey, but get an Ohtani one.
Sure. This is my last ditch effort, my extension of an olive branch to the baseball gods, if you will, to make this happen.
Here's the deal, Ty. This is the deal. Okay.
Okay. All right.
If the Angels help the Mariners get to Houston with a 3-game or fewer deficit, you have to buy an Anthony Rendon Angels jersey.
You know what? It's so unlikely. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. Screw it.
All right. Well, that'll do it.
Why not? Yeah. There we go. Maybe that's enough
The
of a
safest
sacrifice.
bet you've ever made in your life.
But maybe it's enough of a sacrifice to the baseball gods to appease them. You never know. All right. That's going to do it for our show. But before we get out of here, a reminder that Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Locked On Mariners postgame show. For Colby Patnode, I'm Ty Gonzalez. There definitely wasn't a cut there, folks. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at @LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Ty Gonzalez and Colby at CPAT11. That's CPAT11. You can also find all that stuff in the description of this episode. Now, have yourself a beautiful baseball day, and we'll see you next time. Peace. Go Angels. That felt gross to say.
I will never say that.